So good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this morning we're doing something a wee bit different. So I've come to the Doon Hill Climb. It's a motorsport event, and join me this morning and let's see how we get on. Alright, so I'm just walking up the hill. I'm going to try to reach the meadow at the top of the hill where as all the cars race up. They come out at what we call the meadow area. That's an open area. So it's always good to catch the cars as they come flying around the corner into the meadow, because sometimes we can get some interesting skids. But we've got good weather today, so hopefully cars stay on the track, because normally when we're here it's usually raining. So I've got suntan lotion in my bag just in case, ever the optimist. So let's catch up when we get to the top. Alright, so we've reached the meadow. Let me just adjust. Yeah, stop because it's a bit bright. A lot of long grass. So what I'll do is I'll walk up to my usual spot and we'll get set up there. And there's the last hill that the cars go up, and then they go into an S-bend, and then they finally end about 400 or 500 yards after. And I've just spotted, there's Wally just walking up the hill. So I've got myself positioned right at the side of the track. So for pano settings, and a day like this where the sun's going to be changing, I'm just going to try this. Right, so for pano settings today, because the sun's going to be in and out because of the clouds, I'm starting off with an 80th of a shutter speed, f8, ISO 250, and I'm also going to change my focal point. So let's give this a wee test. Here comes the first car. Right, so that's really bright because the sun came out, so I'm going to have to reduce my ISO to 100. Just check. Yep, so I'm down to ISO 100. It could still potentially be bright. So the other thing I've done is I've got a polarizer on. And the other reason that you use a polarizer when you're doing automotive photography or motorsport is the polarizer takes the glare off the window and it allows you to see the driver. So the exposure's still bright, so I'm at ISO 100, so I'm going to drop. See, there's the sun away now. What I'll do is I'll drop to ISO 50, I'll give that a test, and I might just increase my shutter speed. I'll leave my shutter speed at 80th, f8, ISO 50. Now what I'm going to do is change my shooting to high speed continuous. Right, let's see how we go on now. And to be fair, the cars aren't going very fast, so I'm just zooming in just to see if I've got detail. I've got a lot of detail. Right, the sun's going to be a real challenge for us today. However, the cars aren't exactly going very fast, so they're obviously in practice mode at the moment and just sussing out the track for the first time. So what I'm doing is, because I'm using high speed shutter, I'm deleting all the kind of non-sharp images, because ideally for this what you want to do is get absolute sharpness. So that, even with the sun out, that's still underexposed. So I'm going to up my ISO to 100 and you can hear the exhausts popping. It's an amazing sound. So I've got an 80th of a second, f10, ISO 100. Right, so that worked out quite well. The car's a wee bit overexposed. Well, the car isn't overexposed actually, the car's just detailed and bright because of the sun. But I tell you what I'm going to do is, even although I'm shooting with a 24-70, I've still got a wee bit of a distance away. So what I'm going to do is switch my lenses and I'm going to put the 70-200 on. my 70-200 lens on. So the settings I'm using are an 80th of a second, f10 ISO 100. I've also put a polarizer on, a circular polarizer on the end of the 70-200. But the biggest difference here when you're taking shots with the 70-200, underneath the stabilizer switch there's a mode button and it says mode 1 and mode 2. So when you're doing panning shots you want mode 2. Wow, that was a big car. Right, so what we'll do is we'll take some shots with this. We'll wait for the cars coming up and then I'll show you some of these images. So I've moved up, higher up the field, so I've got about half a dozen shots for the last location that I can share. So the challenge we've got is the light keeps changing all the time. So let me try this shot. Yeah, the light's not too bad, we're getting. So the sun's away now, for now. And we've got overcast cloud. So what I'll do is, my settings I've got at the moment is I'm now up at ISO 500, f10 and an 80th of a second. So let me just see if I can track this car. It looks not too bad. And I think that's the race. Well, this practice session must be stopped, so let's join back when it resumes. So we've got a different batch of cars coming up, so we haven't moved away yet. So we've got kind of production sports cars. So like Renault 5s, Mazda MX-5s, we've had TVR 2500M, we've had Minis, so we've got quite a nice variety, a couple of Lotuses and a lot of Caterhams. So yeah, it's been, from a variety point of view, it's been really good. We're just having to manage the light. That was a Renault Clio. That's an Alfa Romeo. Oh, he's off. Oh dear. Oh, I got that. He's lucky he can still drive. Wow. Oh, I think race is going to be stopped because that car just smashed into the barrier. Even though he was okay and he kept driving, I think he's broke a peg at the back of the barrier, so this could be a wee while. Alright, so we're back working again. That's the barriers being repaired and starting to get quite windy now and dull. So anyway, we're just having to increase the ISO, so I'm now shooting at ISO 50 f10 and 1/100th second shutter speed. These are a wee bit slower than proper Formula race cars, but they're still nice and still good to catch. And there's the sun starting to glint out again. That's another group over. Let's see what the next group brings up. Right, so I've come up to the top of the hill, and what I'm trying to do is freeze the cars racing over the brow of the hill, which means I need new settings. So I've now got 1/1000th of a second shutter speed f8, and I'm up at ISO 4000 because it's really low and I need a really fast shutter speed. So some of the cars are quite slow coming over there, but what I want to do is freeze the action. So whereas down the bottom of the hill I was panning, because what I wanted to do was freeze the detail of the car, get the wheels in motion and get the background in motion. But up here, unless I'm panning, I'm not going to get the wheels in motion. So I'm just going to reduce, the sun's come out, so I'm just reducing my ISO to 2000. Right, so I'm getting some nice shots there. I'm going to try and see if I can pan. So I'm going to go back to 1/10th of a second shutter speed, 1/100, sorry. F8, I'll drop my ISO 600. Oh, that's actually really nice. Oh wow, right. So I can do a panel and a nice shot. Wow, that's quite cool. Right, so I might have to move and get a wee bit closer here, so I've given myself a wee bit more room from a sweeping panel point of view. But because I'm closer, the 70 mil might be too close, but let's wait for the next car and then we'll give it a bash and see what happens. Oh wow, so I'm getting some really nice shots here actually. Oh wow, this is brilliant. Right, so I'm just going to up my ISO to 400. So I'm still shooting at f10, 100th of a second, ISO 400, and at the 70 mil length, I'm actually getting some nice shots of the cars. The wind's picked up and it's quite chilly, but there's blue sky behind us, so hopefully that'll start to come through. When you're taking photos, it's the length of time you've got to wait in between cars coming up the hill. But this is really cool. I'm glad I moved over, and I'm glad I experimented and tried panning with a 70 mil, because it's made quite a difference. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll keep taking shots and I'll share those images with you now. Hopefully they're nice and crisp and sharp. I've got a nice TVR here, the yellow 2500N. Nice Manta, the orange one. Alright, so we're back in the van. It's been quite an interesting morning. It's been more new learning. So I'm used to coming up here every now and again, but it's been a few years since I've been here because of COVID. And what's been challenging this morning is all the different times the light has changed on us. And then with the speed of the cars, having to adjust your settings so that it compensates for the light. And it was well, challenging to say the least. But anyway, so here's hoping we can make a video out of this morning. Not quite sure how it's going to turn out. I don't think it'll be that long, but you never know. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that'll let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks very much for watching, and here's to the next video.